Hello, all my gorgeous peeps and just everybody else out there in the world. Welcome to my From the Ghetto to Ramsay Part 3. Yes, you've been waiting for Part 3, and here it is. In this section, we will explore. Check me out as if I got me a little documentary going on here. Well, I do. We will explore how I came to the UK. So here's how it all started. Okay, now if you watched part 2, and really, you need to watch part 2 before you get to part 3, and you need to watch part 1 before you get to number 2, you will know that I've done my university years. I have just graduated from university with my degree in fine arts, majoring in fine arts and kind of specializing in theater and the technical sides, okay? So, I then decided I need to get a job, right? Because I had to get a job mainly because I needed to work, make some money, because I make money so that I can travel. Because I'd already got that travel bug inside of me. Having already gone to Mexico and to Paris and to France, I needed to get back out on the road. So I thought, how am I going to do this? So a really good friend of mine from back home, she told me about this gospel musical that she was involved in. She was one of the producers, and this was kind of like a local from the Philadelphia area, a musical. And I thought, and she said, we're about to go on tour. We've just done a very short run in the Philadelphia area. I missed that one. I did go down towards the very end just so I could get an idea of what the show was about. And they were about to do a nationwide tour. Now, you know these folk. It wasn't no nationwide tour. Detroit, Washington, D.C., back to Philly. That was the tour. But that was okay. So I went along and did my presentation to them, showed them what I could bring to the table. And this was a gospel musical that was set back in the slavery days, taking it through to modern day times. Now, the name of the musical was called Little Willie Jr.'s Resurrection. Now, in America, that don't mean nothing. It's okay. Little Willie, and starring Little Willie and Big Willie. Okay? They're the stars. They're the slaves. Name was Willie. However, in the UK, that means something totally different. But we'll get to that in a minute. So, I went along, and when I turned up to the rehearsal, and I was going for the role of stage manager. I wanted to be the stage manager. And Oscar Johnson, he was the writer and the producer. He met with me. Diane Turner, she was one of the producers. She met with me. She was my friend, sister to one of my really close friends. And they said, yeah, we'd love to take you on. We think you're fresh. You've got some really good ideas. So when I turned up, everybody was there present, except for the so-called star of the show. Well, I'm there taking my notes and getting everything together, and in walks this young guy from New York City, thinking he was all that late. Well, I'm sorry. In my world, you're not late. You have to do, if you're hired to do a job, you do the job. So I read him straight away. I was like, I don't know who you are, but you're late. And he was kind of looking at me. He went to me. He went, well, it's obvious you don't know who I am. I'm the star. I said, look, ain't no stars as far as I'm concerned. We are an ensemble. You got to be here. So we kind of hit it off on a little rocky start. However, the most of the cast were somewhat older. I wouldn't say elderly, but they were a lot older than me. I mean, I was only, I just graduated, so I must have been about 21, 22. And this guy, Ray Shell, he was 4 years older than me. I guess he was about 25, 26 or whatever. So we decided, we went on the road. And immediately when I caught my eyes on him, I thought, sometimes you look at somebody and you went, okay, you're going to be mine. And that's it. Now, he didn't really have any inkling about being anybody's. He was just the star. And I think he was a little bit into everybody and everything. And I thought, no, I'm going to draw his little butt on into just me. So when we got on the road, because we were of a similar age, we hit it off. And both of us sat down together, and he had come from a very good theater background. He had just finished Hair. Okay, y'all must know what Hair. So we talking 50 years ago, because Hair is about to celebrate its anniversary. And Katrina is in Hair. Yes, she is. She's in Hair here in Brighton, celebrating 50 years. But I'm going off track. Let me get back on track. So, me and Ray, we used to hang out. We went to Detroit. While we were in Detroit, we met up with the people from like Parliament Funkadelic people. And we did some recording with it. Because Parliament Funkadelic, they had a whole bunch of offshoots. There was anybody that was in the band, they each then did their own little band. So we were with this woman called Pichina. She was really cool. So we did some recording with them, and we hung out. Now, Ray and I, we always had this thing where, to be honest, let's face it, we were better off as friends because we were really, really good friends. But when it came to a relationship, Ray only had one true love, and that has 3 letters or 4. Job or work. Because that was him. He was all about the job, all about work and creating this and creating that. That he didn't know how to create a relationship. But that's okay. I created my own relationship. I knew what I wanted. So I was, okay, we are talking back in the 70s. Peace and love. You didn't just have to have one. So, well, you didn't. You didn't. So, Ray had work. I had Ray, but I had my other friends out there. I just put it out there. However, when it came to the point of getting down to the nitty gritty, if anybody else looked at him, that's my man. Get lost.
You hypocrite.
Ain't no hypocrite.
Yes, you are.
Ain't no hypocrite. While he was working, I was having fun. But I digress. Let's get back to it.
Oh my God.
So, this
I
show.
might have to leave the room. I don't know if I'm ready to hear this.
Oh, well, look. You want to hear it? I'm putting it out there. This is the truth.
I need to leave.
So, we then went to Detroit, had a fabulous run. Then we went to Washington, D.C. I had a ball in Washington, D.C. Because also I met up with a lot of my friends, Justine and Rob and all my friends. They came to see the show. It was a gospel musical. Ray and I, hand on heart, we basically rewrote the whole show because it was a good show, but it needed some work. And we put that work into it. While we were in Washington, we got notice that something big was about to happen. And what was about to happen was that the show was going to London. Yes. Back in the day, back in the 70s, it was really difficult for American shows to feature in the West End. What happened is they would let the actors come, but they wouldn't let any of the stage hands and the stage managers and all of that because it was taken away from people in this country that could do the job. However, we were different. We were a black musical. We were a gospel musical. And we were specific in what we needed. So I don't know how Oscar did it. I think it was a little bit like this, underhanded. But he did it. He managed to get his entire cast, his entire band, and even the set. Now that costs a lot of money. Transporting the set. But he got it all to come over. So we were so excited because, yay, coming to England, coming to London, and we were going to be opening, kind of like Broadway, but it was called the West End. Okay? Now, let's get it right. Let's get it straight. When we got here, we come to discover that we were not actually in the West End. It might have been the west of London, but it wasn't the proper West End. We were on Regent Street, okay? Now, if you're familiar with London, Regent Street is part of the West End, but there ain't no theaters on Regent Street. But there was this one theater there. And this theater that was there was called the Regent Street Theater. Now, this theater was known for its adult themes. You get where I'm coming from? They done managed to book us into this theater that was known for its seedier productions. Now, we had immediately a problem because the name of our show, as I told you, was Little Willie Jr.'s Resurrection. Now, in the UK, a Willie is a man's private part. That's the nickname. So you can imagine a show being called Little Willie's Resurrection. It wasn't going to work. So, of course, the press took on to that immediately and laughed about it and wrote all sorts of craziness about it. But to make matters worse, the show prior to us was called Let My People Come. So, you got Let My People Come followed by a resurrection of a Little Willie. Wasn't going to work. So, on our opening night, I was shocked because the audience was filled with a whole bunch of men. And I called my mother. I said, Mom, you ain't going to believe it. These English people got religion. And they're men. And they're all dressed in raincoats. Only to find out because they came to the show. And then by the time we got to the intermission, half of them men in raincoats had left. Because we weren't showing no skin. No, Rowena was not going to be flashing no little bitty tits. Wasn't going to happen. So they then realized that we were genuine. This was a gospel musical. It was not a porn show. So I don't know what happened. Next thing I know, we had a pretty good run. I think we went for about, let me see here. We arrived in October. I think we closed in November. We didn't go very long. But there was something special and magical about the UK and London. I loved it. We loved it. It was the time of just that kind of hippie vibe. We used to hang out on, what's the name, that Carnaby Street. Me and Ray, we even went down to this club. It was kind of like down in the basement. And there we were. Who you think was down there in that club? Bob Marley! Oh, yeah. And I smoothed on up to his table. And he was sitting, it was a hazel smoke. I don't know what kind of smoke it was. But I smoothed on up to that table and sat my little butt right down next to Bob Marley. And they were smoking these things. I didn't know what they were. I just went, oh no. And then they were like, women can't smoke with the men. Well, I was totally put out by that. So I got up and went off and just started boogieing. I was dancing. So yes, I hung out with Bob Marley back in the day. Let me get back to my show.
Show?
Yeah. Little Willie Jr.'s Resurrection.
Okay.
That one. So, not my show, because I'm on my show. Hey, we at my show. So, while in England, I discovered this wonderful, wonderful thing called the National Health System. Now, see, in America, I know we got Obamacare and the Trump would care.
Trump don't care.
And Trump don't care. But over here, we got proper care. And I was told, I'd always suffered for little, minor bits in the belly, women problems. And I had this aching pain, and I think I had like a cyst or something. And I had spoken to someone, and they said, well, you could just go to the hospital and have it looked at. And I said, I can't go to the hospital. I ain't got no insurance or no money. They said, you don't need it in this country. We're still talking back in the 70s. Things have kind of changed. So I then thought, okay. So I went down I spoke to the production team and I said, look, guys, I need to just go and just have something checked out because I'm in a lot of pain. And my assistant stage manager, Maggie. Hi, Maggie. I hope you're looking. I got to look you up, girl. She's from Australia. We had good times. Maggie McKay.
Oh,
Love you, Maggie. So Maggie took over that evening. So I just went on down to the hospital and I said, I feel pains in my belly. Well, next thing I know, they done checked me into hospital. They done a scan. They said, oh, no. We need to have a look at this, and I think we need to go in and operate. I went, operate? It says it's a minor operation, but you've got a nasty cyst that we just want to kind of drain or whatever they do. I don't know what they did. But we're going to check you in, and you're going to be in the hospital overnight. So I thought, yeah, that's cool. I mean, lay on up in the hospital, watching TV. Next thing I know, Ray turns up to the hospital to visit me. Because by then, we was kind of like a pair. Yes, we was a pair. Me, him, and this other couple. We used to all hang out. And he come to me, he goes, you ain't going to believe it. I said, what? He said, I don't know what happened, but the show closed last night. I said, what? I'm lying in the hospital. They couldn't go one day without me. One day without me and the show closed. And not only did it close, we, the entire cast, were instructed, pack your bags, because they flying you out, back to America the next day. I couldn't go nowhere, because I'm in hospital. So Ray said, don't worry, I ain't going either. I'm staying here. And Bruce and BB, another couple, they said, we stay in as well. So we decided to stay. Everybody else flew back to America. And I said, ain't nowhere in the world I'm traveling that far, being here for a month, and getting on a plane and going home. So we stayed. We were at the Pembroke. We were living in Notting Hill Gate. We were at Pembroke Square Hotel. And funny enough, the owners of this hotel were these two young kids, more money than sense. Their parents then gave them this hotel to run. And Ray convinced them to turn the downstairs into a studio. And they did. So Ray and Bruce started writing some songs together. And we all started singing and recording. And the only way that we could stay is I became a chambermaid. And Ray became a kitchen porter. He got fired. Because he's an artist. He wasn't about peeling no potatoes and carrots. So I would have to get up every day. I would clean all of the rooms in the hotel so that we could stay at the hotel for free. I also had one of them electric frying pans. I created some dishes out of that one pot. I'm telling you, my peeps, that's all you need is one pot. And you can live. You can eat well. I cook banquets out of that one pot. People used to come to our room because they could smell it going all throughout the hotel. Forget what they were serving downstairs. They'd come to our room to eat because I was cooking up a storm. So we decided to stay. We stayed, did really well at the hotel. We were recording. And then Ray started auditioning because he's an actor. And, and we had work permits. So we figured as long as these work permits are valid, let's work on it. So he went out and he started recording. He did a Kate Bush cover. He got kind of like a small record contract to do some recording. And I'm going to skip a little bit here because I'm sorry, it ain't about you, Ray. It's about me. But part of it with Ray is next thing I know, I'm pregnant. Yes, it does happen. I got pregnant and I decided, you know what, I'm having this baby. I want my baby.
Thank God you did.
No, and I'm glad because that's Cat. So I'm so glad I had my baby. So I decided I was pregnant. He went off and auditioned and got a role, skipping a little bit because we flew back home and then we flew back over here because he got cast in a film called The Apple. Look it up. it has received so many awards for being one of the worst films ever made. But it was cool because we got flown to Berlin. Yes, we flew out to Berlin. I had literally just given birth to Katrina, and she was a little tiny baby. And we flew out to Berlin with the baby. And while we were in Berlin, I then became the makeup artist, one of their makeup artists, helping them for the film. So that was fabulous. Then after we did the film, we then flew back. I flew back home because it was too cold for the baby. How we doing there? We all right?
All right. Got 20 minutes, Mum.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Let me rush this.
Rush.
All righty. So, we're back home. So, we flew back home. Then we flew back to England. And we decided we wanted to try and make a go of England. So, when we got here, back over here after the film and this and that, I got pregnant again. Baby number 2. That's my little Kristen. So, I got 2 babies. A husband who only wants to deal with work. That's all he was ever really into, was his career and his job and his children, who he loved deeply, 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 which was cool. So, he then auditioned. Oh no, that's after. Oh, I'm skipping too much. Because then what we decided, Ray and I, we decided we needed, because we love singing, we put together a band. And the band he put together was called Rachel and the Street Angels. Now, my babies were babies, but it was okay. So I'd get little babysitters in or au pairs or whatever, and we'd go on the road. And this band was like a gospel, funk, pop, rock band. I'm telling you, we were ahead of our time. Because the way we dressed, we were out there. I mean, out there. And we did one show, which was with David Essex. Remember David Essex? Well, he had a kind of a talent show, of which they put us up for, Rachel and the Street Angels, and we went live on TV. It was fabulous. We should have won. We came second, but that's okay. We had a ball. I can remember also with our band, we used to tour around and we used to sing at the American bases. Now, one thing they used to say, and this was during the time of the Falkland Wars, and we did this one particular Air Force base, and they said to us, whatever you do, don't mention the war. So we get up on stage, and we dress like who did it, why, when, and what, but looking hot. And Ray gets up on stage, and the first thing he did, he went, hey, everybody out there in the Falklands, I know y'all gonna kick their butts. And that kind of was, and then we all kind of like, woo! He didn't go there. But this is the thing about it. Don't tell him not to do something. Because if you say don't do it, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. So we did that. We had a fabulous time. Then all right, Katrina, you might have to zoom in on this. When the band split up, because Ray then decided to go off and do his thing, how dare him go back to theater? But, it was one of the best things he did, because he went back and he became the original Rusty in Starlight Express. So while he did that, we, the girls, created our own band, and they were called the Street Angels. Can you zoom in on that?
I have zoomed in on that. Oh, that looks wicked.
Can you see me? I'm that funky one in the middle with the Mohican. And that's Andrea here on the side. And then we have Maggie and Linda. Okay, so that was the Street Angels. So,
hang on, let me zoom out because that went right on your tits. There we go.
Okay, so we then went on and just carried on singing ourselves, and we had a number 2 hit in the dance chart called Dressing Up. We came in number 2 straight after Lionel Richie's. I think it was
All Night Long.
All Night Long. Now, one of the reasons was back then in the day, it's something to do with beats per minute. Ours was the exact same. So Lionel Richie was number 1, and we were the only song that they could just kind of segue into straight away seamlessly. So we were number 2. But that's cool. I'll take that any day of the week. So you got Ray now doing Starlight Express. You got me doing Street Angels. And then also while I was doing the Street Angels, I also started to I started to miss my craft. So I then went back and I started up my own drama company. So I was a director and producer of loads and loads of little plays with my group called Kaleidoscope. Hi, Kaleidoscope kids! And all my
None of us are kids.
and none of them
We're
are
not
kids anymore.
40s.
They're all in their 30s and 40s. But they were fabulous kids. And also I went on to work at various institutions teaching. I worked at a few universities over here and stage schools. Sylvia Young's, which was a fabulous,
It still is.
and it still is a fabulous stage school. We sent both our daughters there. And as a result, Katrina, she was a brilliant actress, and Kristen, both of them were on Grange Hill.
All right, Mum, this is about you.
I know it's about me, but y'all are about me. Y'all are part of me. So we, and from my roots, the branches come. And they're the branches. Okay. So we are a creative family. So, let me see here. So, now we're doing theater. We're doing music. We're having fun. But guess what? The cooking ain't even started yet. Well, cooking started because I'm always cooking. Always having a party. But in 1990, that's when things kind of started to fall apart. Ray and I separated.
You separated before 1990.
He got out of the house in 1990.
No, he left in 1987 and went to Finsbury Park.
Was it 87?
Yeah, he left in 87. We got back from Spain and he'd moved to Finsbury Park. And then he moved to Chiswick Village, and then in 1990 he bought the place in East London.
Okay.
He divorced in 1990.
Oh, okay.
Separated
Well, as far as I'm concerned, okay, well, we divorced in 1990.
But you've been separated since 86.
Yeah, we might have been separated from 86, but he was never gone. He was still around, which is cool because he was around for the girls. But it was during that period that I decided and made the choice that I wanted to become a foster carer. And I said the minute that ink was dry on that paper of the divorce, hallelujah, I could do what I wanted to. And that's when I decided to go into fostering. And that's from the fostering, it took me to Greece, where I opened with one of my best friends. She opened a Mexican restaurant and got me over there to become her chef. I packed up my foster children and off to Greece we went. And guess what? You gotta wait for part 4 now to find out the rest of where and how Momma Cherri came about. See you in part 4.